What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Love and Rice podcast with your host, Aunt Ma.
I'm your other host, Christina.
And please make sure you guys follow us on Spotify, all podcast platforms, YouTube. So on YouTube, we release these 20-minute videos. We break them down for you so they're easily digestible. You guys on YouTube love it this way. And then we compile them and put them on Spotify for a 1-hour episode and all the other podcast platforms. So Wednesdays, they go out 6 a.m. And then on YouTube, they go out like 4 times a week at noon. Okay. And then we also upload our vlogs every Tuesday because I know a lot of you guys miss that. Some of you don't watch the podcast, but the ones that do, we love your feedback. I know a lot of you guys are enjoying them. So thank you very much for listening. And in today's episode, I want to talk about a topic that Christina brings up
all the time.
Yeah, constantly in our marriage.
Yes.
And she's just, I don't know, this is all her. She always brings it up. And we're talking about love languages.
Yes.
She talks a lot about her love languages. We don't talk too much about my love languages. And I just want to, in a marriage, it's very important, right?
Yep.
And do we ever follow through with the love languages? It's kind of hard. So I want to understand in this podcast her love languages to the fullest. I want her to understand mine and how we can make those really happen. Because I think without that, it's very difficult in a relationship, whether it's with your significant other, your parents, your kids, everybody.
Even with friends.
And friends.
Yeah.
Everybody has different love languages. And so when people say, you need to make a better effort in our relationship, you need to make, friends, family, whatever, right? And so making an effort just doesn't mean like doing things where it's like going to call you up, let's go hang out. It's more of like efforts in love languages and understanding the other person's. So
yes.
If you guys don't know what love languages are, there's, I think, 5?
Yeah, there's 5.
Okay, what are the 5?
One is words of affirmation.
What does that mean?
Words of affirmation is kind of like giving each other compliments, but it's also letting people know that you appreciate the things that they're doing. So you're verbally acknowledging like their efforts for things that they're doing or their accomplishments.
So even though the person who's not words of affirmation already understands that, like for example, I love you, right?
Yeah.
And so I already know that, and I know you love me, right? But if you're a person who's words of affirmation, you always need to hear I love you, right?
Right.
Okay. So what are the other ones?
There's quality time. So the person usually appreciates spending quality time with each other more than anything else. So it's not really like just spending time being in the same room or like being in the same house all day, right? Because that's not really quality time.
Oh, I thought that was quality time.
No, it's not, because you're in the same house and you're in the same environment, but you're not really spending time together.
So this is how different it is in a relationship. Like if a person wants quality time, that might be you, and you're thinking that, and you have a different definition. For a person who is not quality time as their love language, they just think of it as, well, let's go watch Netflix together.
Yeah. And
that's not it, right?
For some people, that might be okay because that's how they love each other in that language. But for other people, quality time is actually like being in the same room, actually like not having any distractions. That's quality time is not my love language. But for me, quality time is like being together in the same room, no distractions, not being on the phone. Maybe you can have something on, but you can be having conversations about what's going on. So rather than just like zoning out and watching a movie and not talking at all and connecting, like you're connecting through the movie and having a conversation about what's going on.
Got it. Okay. And what are some other ones?
Receiving gifts. So these are people who love to receive gifts.
What if it's the other way?
What do you mean?
People who like to
give gifts?
Yes. Because when I researched what that means, receiving gifts, a lot of the research I found was also giving gifts.
Okay.
But what is I think it's both, but I don't know why, like on the accurate terms, it's just receiving gifts.
That's a good question. I think because maybe some people might like giving gifts for the sake of gifts, but the people who receive gifts, they're the ones that see it like as like, oh, this is them showing me that they love me because they're going out of their way to give me gifts. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the feeling of receiving a gift is different from giving a gift.
Right. So is it like the women who want sugar daddies? Is that receiving gift as their love language?
It could be. Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah. I mean, if it works for them, right?
Okay.
And I guess that's probably what makes them good sugar babies. But the other one is acts of service.
Uh-huh.
So this is basically people who see love as doing something for the other person, doing things around the house or completing tasks. So physically getting things done to show the other person like, oh, this is how I show you that I love you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what is the last love language?
The last one is physical touch. And that is a person who likes to show their love through touch. So it's kind of like for me, that's actually my love language. And I'm a very physical person. And I like to give hugs. You know, I like to embrace people. I like to like give little like sympathy taps, or I like to like give kisses and stuff like that.
So here's something, we can go right into this.
Okay.
Because you're saying physical touch is your love language, right?
Right.
And you just said you like to give hugs, you like to embrace people, you like to do this,
Yeah.
right? So every time you talk about love languages with me, you don't talk about any of that. You say, how come you don't give me enough physical touch? How come you don't do this and that? But right now you're saying this is what you like to do. You like to give it. But you always ask me about receiving it.
Yeah, because that's my love language. Like, so I'm a physical person, but that's how I show love. But that's also how I want love to be reciprocated with me.
Right. But you never show me that.
Because you don't like to be touched.
No, I didn't say I don't like to be hugged or embraced or patted like this.
Yeah. So I guess the thing is though, like if physical touch is my love language, I feel like I will appreciate it more if it was shown to me. And I think if it was shown to me more, then I would reciprocate it back. But I feel like if the other person doesn't show that to me, then I kind of feed off of their language and then I'll just not do it.
So this is the biggest problem in every relationship. So the person who doesn't understand, who doesn't have that love language, they don't know what to do. So that's why here we're going to figure out how to break that, but also how you can break that mentality. Because you have to understand, if physical touch is not my love language and you're expecting something, I don't know what it is, right? So now it's my responsibility to figure that out, but it's also your responsibility to teach it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's both sides, but it's just like, well, he's not doing it. And I'm like, well, I don't know how to do it. So then it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So like, it can't be like that.
Yeah, because I think it kind of is something that happened over time as well. Because I think if you've noticed, like in the beginning of the relationship, I was very physical, and you were too, actually. Mm-hmm. And I think over time, like it started to show that you actually weren't a physical person, and you didn't like to be touched as much because of like your actions.
I think so. What they say is that over time, love languages change.
Okay.
Throughout relationships, throughout partners, or even just throughout life. Throughout life, when things happen, love languages change, right? So I think ours changed, or mine changed when we started having kids, because now a lot of my energy and everything was soaked in by the kids, and also by trying new things with work, right? So the energy level shifted to like different love languages.
Okay.
So that's where I saw that happen.
I'm not sure that I follow you from there, because for me, I honestly, like, I didn't even know what love languages were until maybe a few years back. And it was probably like when we had like an argument, and that, you know, and then it was when I was talking to like my girlfriends and we were talking about things, and they were like, hey, so, but what is your love language? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know what that is. And when they were naming it to me, I was just like, oh, I might be quality time, because I thought that's what I was actually missing.
Yeah.
But they actually have like a test that you can take in and ask you all these questionnaires, and you kind of figure out what love language is important to you. And people can have multiple ones, just depending on your state of mind at that time. And, physical touch was the top one. And I feel like maybe quality time was the second, or words of affirmation. I don't remember. But
Okay, so what are all your love languages?
so when I took this test, this was probably a few years ago, I would say, maybe 2 years back. And the top one was physical touch, or top three actually that were close to each other, which was physical touch, quality time, and words of affirmation.
Yeah, those are opposite of all mine.
What are yours?
Acts of service
Yeah, we know that's your top one.
and giving gifts.
Okay.
And
Giving gifts,
Yeah.
even though it's receiving gifts
It's not receiving gifts.
for the love language.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's receiving gifts.
But I like giving gifts.
Okay.
So for me, it's like, acts of service to me means that I like someone who is able to put in the work, right? So like when I see that someone takes care of certain things around the house, washes the dishes, I feel like, oh, I'm appreciated. So like if I was to cook every day, then I would love for the other person to wash dishes and clean up every day. To me, that's acts of service.
Okay.
And that shows like, okay, I mutually respect what you just did, cooking dinner for the family. And I love that. So I am going to wash the dishes for you, right? So now when things aren't done, then that acts of service to me is like, oh, so she doesn't respect me or she doesn't love me enough to do it now after. And then, so it's like, it all comes down to like, I guess freeing your stress and mind too. So like when I like acts of service, when I like to do things, this is my personal way. It's because I like to get things done. So it's cleared and gone. Right.
Right.
So let's say if I make dinner and then you're like, okay, I'll wash dishes later. And before it gets to later, it's like, take care of the kids, take care of yourself, do all these other things around the house, catch up on work. And then by the time you want to wash the dishes, you're like tired, or it's not for the acts of service for me anymore. Now it's just for like, this is something I have to do. It's a chore. I don't like it. I'm tired. Damn, there's so many dishes to wash. So it's like through that whole process of you doing everything you need to do for the night, you still have this chip on your shoulder where you're like, oh, I still got to clean the house. I still got to wash the dishes. And it's like, that's actually the wrong way to look at it. It should be more of, he just cooked this amazing dinner. He actually tried something new today for dinner that he's never cooked in his life. And, so it's like, that's why to me, acts of service is important.
Right. So I guess it really depends on perspective as well. Cause, I will do that at times, but at the same time, it's like, there's so many other things to do too.
Of course.
So I know you'll take for just this, like, just as an example, but like, you'll cook your meal and then you'll eat with us for maybe like 15 minutes. And then you're like, all right, I got to go back to work. So I'm dealing with the kids the rest of the time. And then after that, there are a lot of times though that while they're eating, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to just sit here, and I end up doing the dishes.
Yeah.
But sometimes they require me to be there, or I'm doing other things, or I'm actually working while they're eating.
Right.
So, but you don't see that because you're gone. So when you see that I don't wash the dishes like immediately after, you don't realize like that there's all these little things that have been happening while you're working.
No, it's not that. I do realize it. What I'm trying to say is the person who has this acts of service love language, the way they are thinking about it is different. So we know that there's things that you have to do, and that's fine.
Right.
That's why there's no arguments with that, right?
Yeah,
it's accepted. But what I'm trying to say is that we see that your work and everything you have to do comes before the love on that acts of service. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but I guess it's also trying to put in perspective also that like maybe all the other things that I am doing so that you can work, like taking care of the kids and trying to get all their school stuff ready, dealing with homework, cleaning up after they're eating, although it may not specifically just be dishes. I feel like I'm still doing all these things to show that, hey, I got you, I love you, I'll take care of you, so let me deal with all that other stuff.
I don't see that because those things aren't directly for me. It's for the kids. So I see that as acts of service for the kids.
But it should actually, you're seeing it in a different way too, because you should be seeing it as, oh, she's helping me out by allowing me to have my own time for myself to get all this stuff done without any distractions.
Yeah, I get it. It's like, right now I'm giving the kids a bath. I think the first few years you're giving them a bath and stuff like that, or vice versa. And
yep.
So now I'm giving them a bath. And when I give them a bath, I'm like, okay, I'm going to give the kids a bath so Christina can do her own thing. And like, I do it for her. So yeah, I get what you're saying right now.
Exactly. So it's kind of like trying to not focus too much on one thing and trying to notice like the bigger picture. And I understand what you're saying when you're saying, okay, well, she didn't do the dishes right away. So I feel like she doesn't.
No, so there's a difference in the levels of love. So when you do the things for the kids while I'm working so I can work, that's like a low level love for me, because what I'm saying is I don't want to work right now. I have to. Okay. But when I cook certain meals, it comes with passion and love. And I love making certain foods for you guys. And I want to do something new for you guys. I want to cook this Vietnamese or Chinese food that I know you would like. You know, like yesterday I cooked some bun hoi for the first time. Yeah. Right. And it's Vietnamese food because your family always eats Vietnamese food.
But that's your like one of your favorite dishes. so
that's it's what I know how I think I can mimic to make.
Right.
I don't know how to mimic a bun roux or a what's bun bo wei.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like I can't make those because they're not my favorites. I don't understand the dish.
Right.
So at least this is still within the culture of it. And I'm like, let's give this a try because she'll appreciate the spring roll type thing with the fish sauce. She loves fish sauce. So I will learn how to make fish sauce for you, right?
Yeah.
So that type of love is high compared to like, I'm forced to work and then you got to do these things for me to work. Like,
yeah, so I guess that's where there's also that like disconnect with the love languages, because you saying all these things is showing that you're trying to show me love, but in your love language.
Right.
And that's the issue with relationships, because that's why I'm constantly like, hey, I wish you would love me more in my love language, because you doing all these things for me, it doesn't spark joy in me as much as it would for you.
Yeah. And these are the complications in the relationship. Everyone is like, I want to do this because it's my love language.
Exactly.
And this is where it's got to stop.
Yeah. And we're going back and forth about like, oh, but we're doing this and this. But actually, that's not the message.
This is what we're unraveling here is that now we have to figure out how we can do each other's love languages. But I think what has to happen is the person with a love language, you have to coach the person through it, or it's not going to happen. It's not a day and night thing where it's like, okay, turn on the switch. I know what to do. I don't. I'm almost 40 years old and I have not done it this way for 40 years. So
no, but you have. That's why when I say it, I'm like, oh, but you were like this in the beginning. And I know maybe.
No, it's different.
Maybe it's the lovey-dovey phase in the beginning, but then I think because you were so affectionate and so loving and so physical with me in all different types of ways, like that is just completely changed over time.
Right. It is a lovey-dovey phase because that's only like when you're dating is like the first 2 years of dating type of thing. Right. But then the other 30 some years is still like you still have your everything that you know.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to say. Like you can't compare the 2 years to like what I've known my life that you have not seen for 30 some years. I'm not accustomed with.
Yeah.
So doing what I did in the lovey-dovey stage was not normal for me. It was just a phase that I went through. So for me to get accustomed to your love language, you have to coach me through it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes, because I didn't know. Like around that time, I had no idea. Like, why were we like this? Why has the dynamic changed? I didn't realize that, like, because of our love languages.
Because at the same time, it probably wasn't for you. It could have been for me. Maybe at that time, my love language was physical touch.
Maybe.
So like that's what I'm
That actually
saying.
makes a lot of sense.
Nobody knows anyone else's love language but their own, and they only do their own. So during the dating phase, that's what it was. And so you're thinking, well, he used to do this for me. Shit, maybe it wasn't for you.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, and I just came to this realization right now. Like,
Yeah.
I think that makes more sense.
Yeah, because I feel for me, I don't know, like my love language probably could have changed over time, but I feel like I've always been a physical person. So, yeah, like I can confirm that for sure because I was always a hugger. I was always that person that would like have the arm around the friend or whoever when I'm consoling them, or even like just seeing how I am with the kids. Like I'm just so affectionate with them.
And then while we're dating, you still didn't do those things. I initiate everything.
Oh, because the
I
guys
hold it-
usually do.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? You're still this entire time you're talking about how you like to do these things for people, but for your significant other you don't like to. You only like to receive it.
Well, I mean, we've gone through a lot, and I feel like us being in a long-term relationship, like we've been together for how many years? Like 11 years.
12, I don't
12,
know.
yeah. So the dynamic has changed because I feel like I was always that person who did initiate, and I would always like be the one to give you that physical touch afterwards. But that's probably when, I don't know, maybe your physical touch, your love language changed, and then you became the person that just didn't like to be touched. So that changed the whole dynamic because I was actually that person giving you that physical touch, love.
Yeah, maybe it changed from like like I said, I think it's when the family started. So my mentality before was more like boyfriend, girlfriend, newlyweds. It's all about you.
Yeah.
Now when I'm a dad, it's more like now I'm like a tough monkey, and I'm like, oh, and like, you know, pounding my chest and like, how can I be the man of the family? And now it's like man.
Yeah, that
to
makes
where-
sense.
Right? So now it's different. So
That's true. But it's funny now that you say that because I was like, oh, well, maybe since he's not giving me that affection anymore, maybe it's all going towards the kids. And you actually do try to make that effort to be affectionate with them, but they're the ones that are pushing you away, and they're like, yeah, and they want to hug you. And I mean, you want to hug them and give them kisses, and they're like, no. So now it's kind of like, that's kind of like how it feels in a sense.
kind of.
So-
All right, so what is your other love languages that we can work on?
Well, I think it was just quality time because I know a lot of the times we're tired. Like we have so much stuff to do during the day, and we always resort to just like watching movies in bed, right?
That's what I'm doing. So when I'm working, I'm like, oh, hurry up, so I can go watch Netflix with her, so I can spend time with her.
Yeah, but I guess like it's great that we can do that, but I feel like because that's the only time that we actually get together other than these podcasts, we don't really get to connect like on a mental state as well, because we're not really communicating.
So, well, it's not that. It's because we're putting work in the schedule and nothing else. So that's why I always say we need to schedule things, even our time for us. So like if we scheduled some day dates and then connect that way during day dates, then we wouldn't have any issues. But we're not scheduling that in right now.
Yeah, because it just, like you said, it always goes back to work. Or when we do try to schedule a date, one of the kids gets sick,
Right.
and they're at home.
But then you got to change the schedule. So it's like you need to put it on the actual calendar, okay? And we have to put the time aside to have the energy and efforts and look forward to those dates,
Yeah.
right? Because if we don't put it in the calendar and it's like, oh, we got an hour, let's go do this together. Well, now I'm just kind of like, oh, thank God I don't have to do work right now, right? But if we put it in the calendar, I might be like, let's get this work done so I know tomorrow I'm not going to think about work at all. and I can focus on going with you to this restaurant and spending time with you. Maybe we can order a drink and have fun and talk or things like that. So now the energy and efforts into planning makes it a better day, and then you can connect.
Yeah, so I think with that too, because to me, I was always like, why do I have to schedule to have quality time or even to have like spontaneous conversations?
Yeah.
Because I will try to have those times, and you're always like, timing, right? Read the room. But I'm like, but if I'm just trying to have a casual conversation with you, like, how do I schedule that? So I think with what you're trying to say, like, if we're trying to schedule quality time, then it may have to be like you figuring out time in your schedule, because you're the one setting your own schedule now. So maybe it's like whatever you see as quality time where it can be enjoyable and we can actually connect. Maybe you need to fit a time slot there.
If I don't see anything in the calendar, I'm going to continue taking care of the things I need to take care of. So like when you put in the calendar that you're going to the gym, then I stop work during those times and do stuff for the kids, or I know I need to make dinner or lunch during that time, stuff like that.
Oh, but I usually do it when they're not home.
Well, no, there's times when it's like 4:00 or whatever, or there's times when it's like you do it when I have to pick up the kids for school or whatever. So it's like I have to stop my stuff to help you so you can do your thing. So all I'm saying is if you scheduled in something, then I know when I need to stop and focus energy to something else. Well, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but I guess I'm saying that maybe it's better for you to put in a slot of when you think it would make more sense. So then I can follow from you, because I still don't really fully understand the having to schedule time to spend time together. So I feel like you need to lead by example. So you show me what your example is, and then I can follow from there and see what makes sense.
I think there's so many times where I gave you a schedule for work and stop working so we can do other things, and then you never follow through with the schedule. So I stop, because now I just see you working all day as well on your computer trying to do things, and I'm like, okay, well, she's still working. So yeah. But it's like I think compromising, and I like what you said, lead by example. So that's what we'll work on and we'll do. And we'll work on helping each other's love languages and coaching each other through it instead of expecting.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep. And remembering there's a thin line between trying to separate the love languages. So it's like just remembering that, okay, this might spark joy for you, but it won't spark joy for the other person.
As long as you coach your love language, we'll be okay. If you don't coach it, it's going to be hard for one person to figure out.
I'm a simple person. I just like hugs and kisses and affection.
Deal? Shake on it?
Yep.
What the hell?
See, that's physical touch.
Okay, but I didn't do like, I didn't like
kidding.
it. Like, all right. Anyways, guys, my nipple is feeling pretty vulnerable right now. Now I want to talk about the love languages with our parents.
Oh my goodness.
Because Asian parents
they're like another level.
They're like not even from this planet. All right. They have their own love languages, and I'm sure a lot of them are pretty similar, as well as your parents out there, guys. So do you know what your mom and dad's love languages are?
I have no idea, honestly.
I don't know either, but I can tell you what is not their love language.
Definitely not physical touch.
Not physical touch. Yes, my parents don't hug me or kiss me. We just kind of do like when I see them. Yeah. Even like going from Vegas to LA and I go to the house, it's just like, what's up? Head
Not
nod.
even hugs, because even with your family, I always try to give them hugs and stuff too when I see them.
Nah.
I see your mom trying, or sometimes your dad will, and then they'll just be like, okay, bye. Drive safely. Yeah. But they try, you know?
So, yeah. Words of affirmation is definitely not theirs.
No.
I've never heard my parents say, I love you. I don't think my mom ever says it to me. My dad never says it to me.
I just remember the last time you said I love you to your dad, right?
Okay, so here's the story. So my dad found out that he needed a heart procedure. It was very scary because he had like some valves that were clogged or something, some other things that weren't working. So it's like a quadruple bypass surgery for his heart.
Correct.
And a lot of complications can happen and things like that. And the reason why he had that issue is because he had COVID and his health got worse. So it was very scary.
He had pneumonia.
He also got, he had a lot of problems. And so the night before his big surgery, anything can happen. We had no idea, right? So I said, all right, Dad, you'll be okay. And then I text him. This is all text.
Yeah.
And I text him. I was like, I love you. I never text my dad that. I never say that. Okay. But I text my dad, I love you. And his response was, thank you.
Was it thank you or was it okay?
It was thank you. It was thank you. He didn't say I love you back or anything. He just said thank you.
Well, I mean, if you haven't done this like your whole life, and that's probably like one of the first few rare times that you said it to him, it was probably just as weird for him.
But it wasn't like my words of affirmation is what I wanted from them. It was just like, I was like, okay, well, if he was to pass away, I would probably regret never saying I love you. Yeah. Type of thing, right?
Well, I mean, it's you as a kid wanting to say it to your parents to let them know like, hey, I love you. Don't forget, you'll be okay. Right?
Right. And I just gotta thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised. But just thinking about the love languages, I feel like my parents' love language could be acts of service.
It's acts of service because your mom just always wants to cook for you guys.
Yes.
Right? And then your dad cleans the house all the time for you guys.
Yeah. And they always, I think, to show them that we love them and that we actually care about their happiness and well-being is doing stuff for them and getting stuff done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else is theirs?
Quality time, not so much. I feel like I didn't really spend that much time with my family.
Our family is also not quality time because I'll ask my mom, I'd be like, do you want to go to the movie? No.
Yeah.
I'll ask my mom like, hey, let's go on vacation together. No. And I'm like, hey, let's go to China together with the kids. She's like, nope.
I think it just seems like your mom doesn't like to travel. Like she doesn't like going on an airplane or like long trips and stuff. That's what I've learned.
I don't know. We used to go a lot when we were kids.
But it's different because they were a lot younger too. Now they're like older and more tired.
I don't know. And then, so then there's also, my dad is quality of time with me sometimes. It's weird. This is really weird with my dad. So he's also the one that's like, when you eat dinner, okay, let's go to a restaurant, right? And we're all home together. I know where you're going.
Yep.
He'd be like, okay, I'll meet you at the restaurant.
Yeah.
We could take one car, but he'll get there when the food comes.
Yeah.
And then he'll leave before everyone's done when he's done and before everyone else is done. So to him, that's quality time, right?
Right. Yeah. Because I think to him, just showing up and being there, even for a little bit, is like showing quality time.
But then for me, I'm like, but we're missing out on the connection while we drive there.
Right.
While we wait for our table, while we wait for the check. Those are all times where like, you can talk and bond.
Yeah.
And we don't have any of those. So when he comes and when the food comes and when he's done eating, it's just like, he's just doing a duty.
Yeah. I remember in the beginning when he would do that, I was like, oh, okay. I was like, this is kind of weird.
Yeah.
And then now I'm used to it.
But at the same time, he loves it when I go play basketball with him.
Mm-hmm. You guys used to go every week.
He actually likes it if we go to the movies together.
That's true. Even though he'll like fall asleep during half of the movie,
but he'd be like, okay.
There. Yeah.
Right? That's the first thing he does. He goes, okay.
Yeah.
I'll go.
So I feel like he just has a different way of showing it, if anything.
Right. So I think one thing that my parents, I think the only love language they have is giving gifts.
Oh, that's true.
Because my mom will buy the kids like
everything.
Yeah,
pretty
like
much
10
everything.
Christmas gifts. Right?
I know. We're like, hey.
Every time we go back to LA, the kids have gifts.
Like, oh, I went to the store and I just saw all these things for the kids, so I picked it up.
Yeah. They even like gifts through food.
Yeah.
So every time we come back home with grocery bags of like, here's some moon cakes, here's some fruit, stuff like that, right? And your parents do that too.
Yeah, they do that.
Like, here's like 5 dragon fruits from my yard.
Yeah, that's true. Like before we go, they'll they'll go to the garden and pick all these things, and they'll have bags of like fruit for us to take back because they're like, I know the kids want to eat this, so let me just pack this for them. And then the last trip we went to, like my mom had this whole big bag of like frozen shrimp, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, I don't have an ice chest, and she's like, okay, I have one for you, and it was small. And then she tried to fit the whole thing in there, but it was so big, and she's like, okay, let me just get this big butcher knife and chop it in half, and then try to squeeze it in there. And then she did all that just to be like, I know Leia likes to eat her shrimp heads, so you guys can cook it for them and let them eat it.
Yeah. It's they go over and beyond for those things.
Yeah.
You know, like even when we used to live in West Covina and my parents live, 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
And then my dad would be like, we'll be having dinner, or it'll be like 8 o'clock at night, and he's like, he'll text me, I'm dropping off food.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah.
And my dad will drive 30 minutes to drop off to-go food, and he drops off at the doorstep and doesn't even ring the doorbell, knock on the door, or come in. He just drops it off and he leaves.
Yeah, so I don't know. Was he doing that before COVID? Because I feel like during the pandemic, that's when he was really doing that for us, because we were so scared to go anywhere.
Well, I asked him, like, can you stop bringing food? Because there's a lot of this stuff we don't eat as well. And you just bring stuff over, and like, I want to make the certain food that I have that I already like defrosted for the next days. And I'm like, just stop bringing. Like, why do you keep bringing it? And he's like, because I want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
I appreciated it. Or whenever they would give us stuff to take home, you're like, no, I don't want it. I'm like, we can use it.
Some of the food they bring are leftovers that they have with friends. And
True.
I don't want that.
But I feel like, I think they've noticed though, because I think once you've said that to them, they're like, okay, we're just going to order stuff like after we're done eating and then just give it to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they've learned from that. But yeah, that your dad is very interesting.
Yeah. So giving gifts is definitely theirs.
Yeah. Which is actually pretty good, because my parents, they don't like to give gifts, or they don't really care to receive gifts at all. Like even for holidays, you say, okay, what are we going to do for Christmas? Should we go somewhere? What should we get your family for Christmas or birthdays and stuff? And I'm like, my family, we don't really celebrate birthdays too much. Or if anything, I was always the one giving gifts, but I wouldn't get anything back. Like whether it was for birthdays or whether it was for Christmas, like I would never get anything from anyone.
In the beginning of our marriage, you said that you guys don't celebrate Christmas.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's kind of weird. I don't think she means that. So we went out and bought a gift for everybody in your family for Christmas.
Yep.
And so we gave everybody gifts. We didn't get any gifts back.
Yeah, we got no gifts back.
Which I don't care for, but
Yeah.
it's just like, it was weird.
It was weird to me.
What was weird?
Because that's how you guys celebrate it, right? And then you're like, oh, okay, well, let's just go and get stuff for everyone, because we've never done this our whole lives. And when I did that, and like we went like took the extra step of, all right, let's get one for every single person, and
I want to get one for your
and
brothers.
wrap it for everyone.
Like, because giving gifts is a personal touch. You think about it. What would this person like? What would they look good in this shirt? Or what would they appreciate? This is something that they need. They wouldn't buy it themselves, so I'll buy it for them. And so when you do that for like 6 family members, and then no one gets you a gift back, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why I was saying it was weird for me, because that was the
Yeah.
first time that we actually did something, and then I think they knew we were getting them stuff too.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we're celebrating Christmas, and here's all your gifts, and then after it's like, oh, okay, this is weird because we never celebrated before.
But then your mom was giving gifts.
She was giving red envelopes.
Yeah, she
because that's how
cash.
she was giving cash to
But
everyone.
it's like, yeah.
It was just different. So it was not like a weird, as in I didn't appreciate it, but it was just weird to me, because I was like, this is so weird. Like I'm doing something that I usually don't do by getting everyone gifts and then just like celebrating.
Well, now we don't get gifts for your family. We don't celebrate Thanksgiving. We don't celebrate Christmas.
Yeah, we used to though. But when we were all living together in California, we would still celebrate. Like we would all be cooking. Me and my mom would be doing all of the cooking in the kitchen, and we would prepare stuff like for the whole family. But ever since like everyone started moving out of state, like we just stopped celebrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think even when we first started going out, I was making like, I would always make my famous green bean casserole, until after a while I realized you guys were all lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
And couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
I would like pack on the cream of mushroom, the cheese. There was one year where it was all like it was a bunch of cream cheese in there. I put so much in there, and I had no idea that you guys couldn't handle it.
No, even if we took like 4 lactate pills, it still wouldn't help.
Yeah, I've learned over time, and I just stopped making it.
So, what are some other love languages that you think your parents have?
I think that's it, honestly. Maybe words of affirmation. I feel like no. I feel like
I thought quality time was one of your dad's because your dad likes to stay home all the time, and then he likes it when the kids come over. But then when I'm like, when I ask your dad like, hey, let's go somewhere.
Yeah,
He's like, no.
it's because he likes to be home. He's a homebody. So if we bring the kids over, he loves having them there, and he loves being home because he's comfortable. But if you're asking him to go out to eat at a restaurant, like they just don't like going out to eat.
Your parents are definitely acts of service because they like to cook for the kids all the
Yeah.
time, or your
Always.
mom likes to feed Leia all the time.
Always. Yeah. I mean, that's what grandparents do, right? So I think that's probably their main love language. And
So, in the previous episode, we were talking about how we can change our love languages to help each other and coach each other through it.
right.
But how come we don't do that with our parents?
Because they're older. They're kind of set in their old ways, right? I feel
But
like
what's the difference? I'm also set in my ways.
you're old too. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying though. Like, how come you don't care about your parents and that love language, but you care about mine and yours?
Because our relationship is a direct, you're my spouse, you're my significant other, we're in the same household. So we have to be on a different level. Like you only get one significant other to have
you only
that
get one
relationship.
mom and dad.
But it's different. Like when you're growing up with them, like you're close to them, you have this like good relationship with them. And then when you get older, you kind of like branch off, and that's when you start your own family, and that's when you start connecting with your own family. So before, the priority was your direct family, your parents, your siblings, right? And then after that, that's when you move forward in your life and you start your own family, and then you try to have that dynamic within your family. So now our priority is us, and even our parents know that.
So the parents have it easier is what I'm getting at. No, I'm just kidding.
They do, because they don't have to worry about us
All right,
as much anymore.
Guys, let us know if the same is with your immigrant parents and if it's been hard for you guys to connect with them, or have you guys...
Or how do you connect with them?
Do you guys ever say I love you to your parents?
I do. I say it all the time.
Do they say it to
my parents
you?
do say it to me. They
Oh,
will
they
say
do?
it because I
Okay.
say it to them first, and I always give them hugs. I'm always very like affectionate and stuff with them.
No, anything I say to my parents, the response is,
Oh no, my
get
parents
the,
won't do that. No, because
Right?
because we're all affectionate. Like all of my siblings, we are actually.
Yeah.
The more that I think about it.
like yesterday,
Well-
last time I went to LA and it was just for the night to sleep at my parents' house. Next day I had to do real estate work and then go back to Vegas.
Yeah.
And so I saw my dad for like 3 minutes.
Oh my
And
gosh,
then
that's it.
I talked to him for a little bit, and at the end I was like, okay, I gotta go to bed. I got to work tomorrow. He'd be like,
You know, I noticed that like whenever we do stay at your parents' house, though, I feel like your dad stays up to just be in the same room with you. So that's probably why you think that's quality time when we're just in the room watching a movie but not talking at all, because that's what your dad does with you.
I guess.
He will stay there purposely, and I will notice it.
I don't think it's on purpose, because if I go in my room for like 5 hours, he'll still be out there till like 2 a.m.
Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. I thought he was just doing it
I
to
don't
be
know.
with you.
But let us know, guys, how your parents have been, and if it's been a struggle, or you don't care,
Or
wanna
how you
change
connect
things.
with them, you know?
Yeah, I just want to know, like, because we have two totally different love languages for our parents, but yet they come from the same place.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. So in the last couple episodes, we've been talking about love languages between me and Christina, about our parents, and now I kind of want to talk about the love languages between like the kids.
Oh.
Do you think at this age, our kids are 5 and 3, do you think that they have love languages right now?
I keep trying to figure that out all the time. And, you know, like every time the kids do something and I think it's so cute, I'm always like, oh, you know, Leia did this and Enzo said this to me. What do you think their love language is, right? I'm always trying to figure it out. I feel like, you know, they're too young to understand it, but I'm trying to figure it out between them. I feel like they may have more preference in a love language
All right,
than
so
others.
what is Leia's love language that you think?
Oh, man. It's kind of tricky because
I think hers is giving gifts
giving gifts.
and acts of service. because anything we ask her to help us with, she'll do right away.
True.
And then, like yesterday, I tested her. So I was working on my desk, and she was all the way in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, Leia, I need your help. She's like, okay. And she's like, what? And I was like, can you help me turn on the light in the office? And I'm like 5 feet away.
Yeah, I remember that.
And she's like, okay. And then she turns it on, and then she gave me a hug and left.
Oh, yeah. I was I think I was in the dining room with them, and then, or I was like cleaning in the kitchen, and then she was just like, oh, hold on, Dad's calling me. Like, she was so proud because you rarely ever do that, you know? So she's like, Dad's calling me. And she was just like walking over to you. And then she came back. Oh, he asked me to turn on the light for him. Like, she was so happy about that. Like, it felt like she accomplished something.
Yeah, I think, so when I say also giving gifts, is because she loves to draw and color and then give it to us.
Yeah. Did she give you something yesterday? Because she gave me a drawing. And then she's like, oh, it's for you. And then it's for Dad. So I didn't know she drew separate ones for us.
I don't think so.
But she does that a lot.
It's like every day.
Yeah. I was almost going to say quality time, but I feel like she just wants us to see her accomplishments. Like when she draws something or she completes something or she does something with her toys, right? She wants you to just see it. But it's not so much of like being there.
No, it's not quality of time. It's more of physical touch.
Yeah, for me, I feel like physical touch is one that she shows me often.
I think what I'm starting to realize also from seeing Leia is that everybody's love language is different for every person.
I was going to say
that I have a different love language and you have different love languages. I mean that your love languages with me is different from your love languages with Leia, and so on and so on. So, for example, Leia loves to hug everybody but me.
Yes.
Everybody. So she loves physical touch, but she doesn't do it with me.
She loves giving me kisses. She loves snuggling with me and holding my hand. But then when you can do it when she's cuddling with me, and then she'll be like, ugh. And I feel like both kids do that to you.
So I don't know. She started giving me random hugs and kisses lately. You know?
Yeah. So you know what? I feel like kids, they can feed off of people's energy. So I feel like physical touch is a big thing for her because she even does that with Enzo. So like even when he was like, Leia, every day you've noticed that he'll be like, Leia, can you be nice to me? Can you be nicer every day, please? Like he keeps saying that. And she'll be like, oh, but I am. And then she'll hug him and give him a kiss on the cheek. So I feel like that is her love language. But then she feeds off of your energy because she doesn't see you being an affectionate physical person. So maybe
I kiss
she
and
doesn't
hug
do
them
it.
all the time. But yeah, because they're babies, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So maybe because I'm like that throughout the day with them, so they're more like that with me. But maybe because you only do it like when you're trying to say goodnight or it's the end of the night and you're trying to snuggle.
I do it throughout the day.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
One thing though, I see something changing with her as she's getting older.
What is it?
So before I used to say, hey, Leia, can we go bowling together? Can we go watch a movie together? And then she'd be like, is mommy coming too?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, no, I want to go with mommy. And I'm like, oh, you know?
Yeah.
And that was like for 2 years.
Right.
So I couldn't do anything with her alone and bond with her alone. And then last week I was like, Leia, guess what? I got tickets to go to a show together. Immediately she said, mommy, me and daddy are going to a show together. Just me and daddy.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh. Really?
She was actually really excited about it.
Yeah. So we went to the Sphere together.
Yeah.
You know?
And she loved it.
Yeah. We went to the very first show of the Sphere called Postcard on Earth or From Earth. And I actually wanted to bring Enzo because he loves planets. So I got the tickets for Enzo. But after reading the description of like, it's not good for little kids, I was like, let me bring Leia with me. But she loved it. The whole time it was like, we're holding hands. I was carrying her a lot of the times. I made sure I bought her some popcorn and soda. And like, I made everything feel very special, you know? Like, do you want popcorn? Here, drink some soda. You know, like she never drinks soda, guys.
Yeah.
You know? She's not, we just don't expose them to it too much. But
Less
she
sugar, for
loved
sure.
that I just was offering it and I let her. And,
Yeah, I think that kind of goes back to you liking to gift people because you're gifting her all these these are pretty much like gifts to her.
They are gifts. All
Yeah.
three are gifts. It's the show, the popcorn, and the soda.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, even when we're at home, Enzo was like, okay, maybe can we go to a show next time? Or me and dad. I'm like, yeah, you can. Just talk to him about it after, So I think once you expose them to that, like showing like, okay, well, let's have a daddy-daughter date,
Yeah.
then they're like, oh, this is a possibility. Now I want to do this because I think Enzo, I mean, even I was kind of jealous. Like, I wish I was at this show too,
Yeah.
So I think their love languages or preference for love language really just it feeds off of the energy of other people.
I do know that one of their love languages is quality time because they are always together. They're inseparable. They want to do
Yes.
things together. Where's Leia? Where's Leia? Where's Enzo? Mm-hmm.
I think Enzo's love language is probably quality time.
Yeah.
Because he's always asking for us to like do stuff with him, whether it's like doing his activity book, right? I got him this activity book and it has all these different type of activities where you can pull off these little pieces and it's like Velcro. And then there's this one that's all like the entire alphabet that you would put it on. So before I would be like, okay, Enzo, you put the alphabet in order and you name all the animals or objects for each letter. And then just recently he'll be like, Mom, can you just sit here with me? Can you do this with me? Can we take turns putting the letters on?
He's doing that with me too. He's like, play with me.
Yeah.
And so he'll bring the activity book that you're saying with the ABCs.
Yep.
And he'll bring me the letters that are Velcroed off. And he says, here's yours and here's mine.
Yep.
Right. So Enzo goes, he puts his A and his B down. He goes, it's your turn. You have C. And then sometimes I'll mess with him and I won't do it. Or I'll put it on a wrong one or something. And he'll grab my hand and put it on the spot where it's supposed to. And then so now for the rest of the game, he'll just grab my hand and do it every time.
Oh, so maybe because you do that, now he likes to mess with me. Because when we're doing it, he'll be like, that's C, I'm going to put G. Like he likes to mess with me and stuff now. Or he'll put it like upside down or where it's not supposed to be. And
Yeah,
then he
that's what
just
I do with
giggles.
him.
Oh my gosh. So that's
Yeah.
where he gets it from. I'm like, Enzo, let's be for real right now. Like, why do you keep doing it
Yeah,
wrong?
I do it upside down. to
That's
him
why
and,
then.
like,
Okay,
yeah.
that makes sense. So yeah, before I thought his love language was physical touch because he used to be so affectionate and clingy
Yeah.
with me, right? Now he's like, no.
I think his physical touch is mixed with quality time because he goes, Daddy, can I sit on you? Mommy, can I sit on you?
That's right.
But I don't think that's physical touch. It's quality time.
It might be a mixture of both with what you're saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think kids do have love languages. And I think it's important to love them in that way too. And it's crazy because if we never knew about love languages, we would just assume like, oh, this is just how they want to be.
So here's what we do with the kids too. We actually coach them through it. We say like, go show this to daddy. He would love it so much.
Yep.
That's coaching them through a love language.
Yep. That's why I do it all the time.
But
Because
we need to do that with each other.
I know. See,
Coach.
that's what happened. We put more time into trying to teach the kids because they're the ones who need the most teaching, but we actually should be teaching each other. And not only teaching each other, but doing it in a more loving and caring way. And yeah. Because the kids can't get defensive when we're trying to teach them something. I mean, they can a little bit, but as grown-ups or adults, like it's easy to get defensive.
Because we always from each other, we always expect that we think we know. So it's like, that's why it comes with a little bit of aggression or defensive mode, but it should come with love.
Yeah, because you think you know, but you really don't. Then you just end up arguing rather than trying to like understand each other.
So, all right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Love Languages. I actually liked this a lot. It was awesome. Guys, if you don't know what these love languages are, please take a love language test. You can find it on Google, anywhere. Okay, let us know what your languages are. If your kids have any, this is all great information that everyone would love to see.
Yeah,
so,
and I feel like it would definitely improve relationships with everyone in your family, your friendships, or even at work and stuff too. So
yeah.
definitely invest in it.
All right, guys. So we'll see you on the next episode of Love and Rice. Make sure you follow us on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Castbox, anywhere you listen to podcasts. They're on as Wednesdays, 6 a.m. Okay. And on YouTube's, we do these 20-minute breakdowns 4 days a week. So make sure you guys watch them, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.